Hello, everyone. I'm KP.
And I'm Kristen. Welcome to the Nightly from Hatch, a slumber party for pop culture lovers.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It absolutely is. Kristen, how has it been going? What has your life looked like recently?
I am going through avid bird nuttiness where I
love bird drama.
I'm always kind of a nutty bird lady. I am. But I've been using the Merlin bird app a lot lately because I'm like, what is that crazy noise? And then I take out the bird app, which is supposed to record whatever bird noises might be nearby. And then it tells me what the birds are. And sometimes I get the Merlin app out on time. And other times it's like, that's a truck because, you know, it's New York City. But yeah, I've been keeping my phone in my hand all the time lately when I'm walking because, you know, spring, warm weather birdiness. The birds are going nuts now.
I love bird watching. This is I think it's had a boom recently because I have a lot of, or maybe I'm just like getting older and all my friends are, and we're all finding, you know, the truth is everyone will settle into bird watching eventually.
I think it's both though. No. I really think it's both. Like bird watching content is all over social media in a way that I'm like, I don't remember bird watching content being everywhere 10 years ago, but it is now, I feel like.
I'm the Audubon app. I keep that one, but I know that the Merlin is really quite good. So I have the Audubon, my boyfriend has the Merlin, and that way when we're bird watching, we kind of get both perspectives, which is nice.
Nice.
Because there's different ways to sort them.
Yeah.
I think it's just such a nice hobby because it is like, when we're outside, sometimes I feel that I'm distracted and I'm not taking in how beautiful outdoors is. And so if you have something that you're kind of constantly playing a little bit of I Spy when you're outside, I think that makes you more present to how beautiful nature is, which is great.
Absolutely.
And you can do it in cities. I'm like, people think there's only a few birds, but it's like, even cities, you've got 20 beautiful birds at all times around you.
Oh, at least. Yeah. It's also a fun way to interact with the neighbors. You know, you might be walking down the sidewalk and there might be 3 or 4 people staring up at the top of a tree. And, you know, hey, what are you all staring at? Oh, don't you see the hawk that's up there? And then I'll stand with them and we'll all just have our mouths wide open staring at the hawk.
And it feels so cool to be chosen by a bird. Like sometimes you're like, wow. I mean, I think I said this or maybe already in an episode, but last week a screech owl was just following me. It was like every time I walked a block, the bird like caught up to me. And an owl is rare. I mean, it's hard to see owls. They don't really want to be seen. That's kind of their thing is they're
especially
hiding,
during
getting mice.
Daylight hours. They usually kind of want to be, you know,
this was
after
at night.
hours.
Yeah, this was at night. So it was like cool to even be able to see it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, that's so cool.
We ran and got our binoculars and our flashlight from our car and then came back and it was still there. Thank goodness.
Oh my gosh. It waited for you.
I know. That's why I was like, wow, I feel chosen by this bird. It's lovely.
I love it. I love it so much. I have been so into it lately that I've been thinking about getting one of those bird houses with the camera.
Oh, my friend has one. Yeah. Very fun.
Yeah. And then you can just kind of watch the birds kind of like you might watch TV. It's just like, here they are building a nest in the birdhouse. Or here they are sitting and, I don't know, talking to each other, doing what birds do.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm so anti-tech, but then I go, sometimes it's really quite helpful. That one I go, that's a nice pro-tech thing for me, which is like, yeah, I do want to see birds up close. That's what tech should be used for. Well, Kristen, that is what has been lighting up our lives. But what has been lighting up your feed? I want to do a little bit of nightgeist.
Yes.
And I want you to tell me, what have you been seeing? What's going on?
All right. So the main thing that has been lighting up my feed over the past week has been people on TikTok, on Instagram, on Reddit, fact-checking the JFK Jr. and Carolyn show, a.k.a. Love Story, John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. And a lot of the fact-checking isn't even correct. There are people also, like, I've listened to a few podcasts where people are supposedly fact-checking the show, and I'm like, you have not done your research. Some of the stuff is just flat out wrong. But there are some things that have been fact-checked accurately. Do you want me to share a few of those with you?
Well, can I get, I have not watched this show. Can I get the backstory here? So this is a Ryan Murphy show, is that true?
It is a Ryan Murphy show.
Which there's a lot in the Murphyverse that I have seen.
Yes. I can't even keep up with it all.
Oh, I know, because some is very, very different from all the others. Like, I did watch The Assassination of Gianni Versace, American Crime Story, and I did think that was an interesting thing. I mean, he's all over the board of, like, he's done horror with American Horror Story, and then he's done Glee, which I love. I'm obsessed with Glee. So he's got a really the Murphyverse is vast, and so it makes sense that now he's got Love Story.
Yes, yes. And American Crime Story, and which the Gianni Versace story was part of. There's been 3 seasons of American Crime Story, and each one covering a different crime. Okay. And then there's been Feud, where people who historically existed who had feuds with each other, like
Joan Crawford,
like
did they
Joan
have that
Crawford
one?
and Betty Davis was one season. And Love Story is the newest Murphyverse show, which apparently there's going to be other seasons of this where once again we're dealing with real people and their real love story that happened. But when we say real, we mean real in the eyes of Ryan Murphy, which is not really real. He likes a heightened story, so I'm sure a lot of this is very dramatized. Exactly. So this debut season of Love Story is about John F. Kennedy Jr. and Carolyn Bessette. They were dating in the 90s, off and on with each other, and then got married. And then within 3 years of getting married, they tragically died in a plane crash. And so the show covers the 90s and their time together. And a lot of it, as you would say, is heightened. There's like, how much of this is actually true? There are a lot of celebrity drop-ins because JFK Jr., he did run in a big celebrity set. He's dated lots of celebrities. The show depicts Daryl Hannah, which was one of his longest running girlfriends he'd had. But on the show,
she just come out and be like, guys, that's not what I was like.
Correct.
Yeah, she was like, that is crazy that you made me look like that.
Yes, you are so right, because the show kind of depicts her as this flaky, fame-hungry, opportunistic party girl who's bringing cocaine into his house, who's just like really flighty, but loves to party. And my career's not doing so well, so why don't we get married? You know, she's that person. And so she wrote an editorial that the New York Times published, and she said, people are sending me hate mail. People are assuming the worst about me because of this Ryan Murphy show.
Guys.
And she said, I've never done cocaine in my life. None of this is true. This is not who I am. Yeah. And I think the show should be more careful when they are depicting real people. They should, you know, I get it. It's a drama, but maybe you should be more careful when the people are still alive and have to deal with the effects of this drama.
And if I'm not mistaken, they were a little bit, some people in this scene were quite private about their lives. Like, they weren't like so public about some of this. So I feel like Daryl Hannah, like, just assuming that she did drugs because maybe other people in the scene there was drugs is like, she's 60 something now, right? Let's not bring Daryl Hannah down.
Yeah, totally unnecessary. If you're trying to tell JFK Jr. and Carolyn's story, why smear Daryl Hannah? You don't need to do that.
Yeah, come on. And Daryl's awesome. I do love some of Daryl's stuff.
Me too. Always. Till the day I die, I'm always going to love her and Splash and Steel Magnolias.
I love Daryl Hannah. Okay.
Yes. So that's one fact checked. And you already knew about that one, KP.
I did. That one came across my desk where I was like, oh yeah, why is Daryl Hannah having to make a statement and getting hate mail right now in the year 2026? Please.
Yeah, I would say this show reminds me of The Crown in a lot of ways. It's not quite as campy as a lot of Ryan Murphy's other shows, so it's not always as easy to see that this is fiction because, you know, like The Crown, it's like, oh, it reads as almost real, but The Crown isn't real either, folks. Nobody was in the room when the Queen was talking with the Prime Minister that one time recording it. Nobody was there in bed with the Queen and Philip while they had their bedtime chat that one night.
And I'm going to say, yeah, I believe you.
Yeah.
Okay, so Daryl Hannah was not this party woman. Okay, also, what I'm seeing, Sarah Jessica Parker was in it. What is that? She was involved in their scene?
Okay, so it turns out that John, JFK Jr., he dated a lot of
Oh my
celebrities
gosh.
back in the
Whoa.
day, including Sarah Jessica Parker,
I did not know.
including
Wow.
Madonna, including Brooke Shields. He dated lots of celebrities. He ran
Wow.
with rich and famous and beautiful women, and he was known for being kind of a playboy.
Sure.
And so that's a bit of a fact check. The show doesn't fully depict all of that. They mostly just show him as a guy who's a golden boy. He was part of the great family empire of the Kennedys, but they hint at it a little bit on the show. But in real life, he may have also been a bit of a sleep around too. So this show is trying very hard to depict a great love story between John and Carolyn and how they didn't quite understand each other all the time. And in the show's attempt to paint them as the great love story, the biggest conflict they're painting is that Carolyn wasn't comfortable with all the media attention. And John was not used to women who didn't throw themselves at him. So he's like, why does she keep saying no to me? Why would she automatically want this? Look at me. I'm John F. Kennedy Jr. Why wouldn't she want to throw herself at me? And where she was more reticent. So that's what the TV series tries to paint as their greatest conflict. But in real life, there may have also been conflict because he was such a ladies' man. And historically, it looks as if he maybe crossed over with Carolyn and other women a lot. And maybe their love story wasn't as perfect as the TV show depicts. And
certainly we know that, right? Because isn't one of their most famous photos is like them really giving it to each other, yelling in the park?
Oh, yeah. And physically, like a physical altercation, not just yelling, but like jumping on each other and grabbing each other and so on.
So I feel like calling it love story in general has some pros and cons where it's like, sure, definitely. But we know a few things that it definitely was not always like the healthiest, probably. Maybe. I don't know.
Not always sunshine and roses. And during their final months, when they were alive, he wasn't even living in the same house as her. He was living at the Stanhope Hotel, and he was frequently at the apartment of one of his ex-girlfriends.
Yeah.
So, again, we don't know if it was that great of a love story. The show wants us to believe it was the greatest love story of all time. But yeah, I'm seeing a lot of fact checking of that. Like, but then why is he photographed here with this girlfriend at this time? Yeah.
Now, can I ask some questions? Was JFK Jr.'s job politics or finance? What was he actually like doing?
He was an assistant attorney general. At one point, even though he hadn't passed the bar exam, but that was because of nepotism, so he wasn't really qualified to do that. And then he started a magazine called George, which was supposed to be about the intersection of pop culture and politics, but it didn't quite gel. That magazine was built on a premise that, at least at the time, there wasn't a ton of crossover between politics and pop culture.
Sure.
And then he also was an amateur pilot and not very good at it. And he just had a lot of expensive hobbies that...
he was just kind of a golden Kennedy.
He was
just
a
like
golden
a Kennedy.
Yeah. Okay. And there was talk of maybe he'll work in politics someday, but maybe not.
And she had a job.
Yes, she worked at Calvin Klein, and Calvin Klein really seemed to value her opinion and her experience, and she
was like a businesswoman. She was in the scene. Okay, cool.
Yeah, she was a buyer, she was a publicist, she worked with high-end clients, celebrities and so on. She fitted for clothes when they would come in for private shopping and so on. So she was working with the biggest clients that Calvin Klein had. She was a big deal in her field. Yeah.
Cool.
And then she gave it all up when she married John, which seems sad to me, to give up a career that she loved, that she was really good at. But
I know. There's always like pros and cons to that, where I'm like, I can't see myself ever giving up the thing that I love to do. But then sometimes I go, man, it's so fun to not do anything all day. Boy, oh boy, isn't it fun to just not. No, I'll do comedy forever. But I am like, hey, I get that a little break never hurt nobody.
One thing that I wanted to fact check from the show that I think is kind of fun, it's actually very mean, but it's a fun fact. So there's one point in the series when, shortly after marrying JFK Jr., Carolyn is very upset because she comes across a column in the newspaper that seems to be tearing her apart. And this column actually did exist in real life. The column was called Spoiled in the City, and it had a thinly veiled version of Carolyn in it with her same initials. And it was written by Candace Bushnell, author of Sex and the City. Candace Bushnell seemed to have it out for her, and she just would tear Carolyn apart in her column, just like, and here's another thing about this spoiled person whose initials are blah, blah, blah.
I've read some of Candace Bushnell's work, and I'm like, she's quite deprecating to everybody. She sees some flaws in herself and others, it seems.
Oh, yes. Yes, I agree.
But, okay, yeah, we got a spoiled woman.
Yes.
Named CBK. That would be hard to deny.
Yes. And she tried to change the initials to CKB to make it less obvious, but
all right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, now this is such a weird little web here, because then we have the real Candace Bushnell throwing shots at Carolyn Bessette, Kennedy, mm-hmm. and then Sarah Jessica Parker going on to later be in the show, Sex and the City, having dated John. This is a real interesting web of women in New York.
Yes. And Mr. Big, also known as John, his name is revealed to be John on the show.
He's a JFK Jr. stand-in?
Who knows? But
my goodness.
The woman he ends up married to instead of Carrie on the show, Natasha, the actress who played Natasha, said that she channeled Carolyn Bessette Kennedy in playing her role.
Wow. I mean, there is a New York socialite vibe to Sex and the City that cannot be, ignored. And I think actually having Candace Bushnell, who was in that scene, also be writing it. I mean, all of that is tied in. Wow. Absolutely. And Sarah Jessica Parker. Oh my goodness.
They're all connected. Enough about John, and Carolyn. What is lighting up your feed right now? What is zeitgeisty in your nightgeisty right now?
That sounds good. I like that. My zeitgeist is so broken because honestly, I'm just only swiping on small animal videos is all I'm seeing these days. And I have this theory. This is truly not the most interesting topic compared to John and Carolyn here, but they're making up new animals, and we have to talk about it. There's new animals I've never seen before in my years of life. Where are these things coming from? I'm seeing tiny little sloth the size of shrews. What are those things? I mean, I need to list these names to you.
Are they real or are they AI?
Yes, I am doing my due diligence because I hate to be boomered out and be tricked by AI. So I'm definitely doing my due diligence with all of these, where it is like I'm making sure that it's coming from like a sanctuary or a farm's account where I'm like, okay, they actually have access to these animals. All right. So we're looking through Silky Anteater, and I'm showing a picture here for those listening. It fits in the palm of this man's hand. It has just like two little claws, not even fingers, and it's truly silky. I mean, it looks like a lint ball in your washing machine. It's fascinating.
Is so cute, and I want to hug it so bad.
I know. I mean, I'm obsessed with it for sure. But I am like, how am I learning of new animals? Where are these things coming from? Okay, and then lastly, I must give you... I mean, it's a deer the size of not even going to the knee.
You know those, what are they? Italian greyhounds? It looks smaller than that.
So apparently it is a type of antelope, a baby springbok. I could be getting fooled here, but I would think that this would have come across my desk because this thing's insane. So cute as can be.
How is it so little?
I know. This has been my whole feed. I mean, I'm useless right now pop culture wise because I'm rewatching the oldest shows of all time. I'm rewatching Game of Thrones and Mindy Project right now. So I'm not useful. I'm not up to date at all. But I just have never seen Mindy Project, so I wanted to see it for the first time.
Yeah, I find it's fun to watch a show after the fact and then through a different lens because it's years later. And
absolutely.
Some shows hold up and some don't hold up so well.
I know. I was really trying to get into some of the HBOs because I'm like, okay, there's so many great HBO shows that everyone has talked through. And I tried True Blood and it didn't hit for me. Have you seen that one?
That's the vampire show, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. I have seen like 3 episodes, I think, of that
I
show.
know, that one didn't grip me. I'm going to have to try that one again. But it is hard when, I mean, I watched Buffy for the first time a year and a half ago. And it's
Oh,
hard when you have the perfect vampire show to go to anything else. Like, that
yes.
that show is absolutely perfect. They didn't need to change a thing.
I might need to check that out. I watched the original movie
Oh,
that
see, I haven't seen the movie
starred
yet.
Christy Swanson and what's his name from Beverly Hills 90210.
And so it was a movie and then a comic and then a show, right? Or a comic and then a movie and then a show?
Maybe, I can't remember, but I know the movie came out before the
Yes.
TV show.
And then they said, let's make it Sarah Michelle Gellar, and she's lovely.
Yes, and I think the TV show is probably the one that people think of the most at this point.
Yes. And then there was going to be a reboot, and they canned it last month, right?
I wonder why that is.
They filmed the episodes because I had a friend of a friend that was in a few of them, and she was like, I really wish you guys could see this, but it's just not coming out. And I think, did Chloe Zhao direct some of it too? I don't know. It's fascinating.
Oh, that's an incredible matchup.
I
Wow.
know. I love Chloe Zhao. And then
Yeah. That means the show would have been very moody.
I think so. I know. I'm really interested to see more of Chloe Zhao's career, honestly, because she's had some just like really different stuff also. To go from her first movie, which is escaping me right now. Yes. And
Yeah.
then to go to Eternals. I'm like, she's had a really...
And then Hamnet and yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be on the lookout. Maybe someday they'll release it because I'm interested in a Chloe Zhao Buffy. And with that, I'm going to sleep. Good night, Kristen.
Have a great night, KP. Sweet dreams.